بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد. What was recited was from the chapter of Fussilat. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Fussilat means that which has been explained thoroughly. As he says in the beginning of the chapter, Kitabun Fussilat ayatuhu Qur'anan Arabiyan liqawmi ya'lamun. He says this is a book that has been, its verses have been explained clearly. Qur'anan Arabiyan, as a Qur'an, the Arabic Qur'an, or which could be that which is put together. Qur'an literally means that which is joined together, or that which is recited. So it's joined together and therefore recited by the reader or the reciter. لِقَوْمِ يَعْلَمُونَ, for those that know. In the second rak'ah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about those that were from the people of Ad. The people of Ad and their arrogance and what they said. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives a basic rebuttal that for anyone that is a person of Tawheed and recognizing the greatness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would rebuke with. But then he gives an explanation of what he does to the people of Ad. So he says, فَأَمَّا عَادٌ فَاسْتَكْبَرُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ. And as for the people of Ad, and they were arrogant on the earth, istakbaru fil ardi. And then he mentions one of their maqulat, one of the things they would say, وَقَالُوا مَنْ أَشَدُّ مِنَّا قُوَّةً. And they would say, who is stronger than us? Who is more stronger than us? Ashaddu minna quwwa. Ashad means more harsh than us in strength. In strength. Who is stronger than us? Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asks a rhetorical question. أَوَلَمْ يَرَوْا أَنَّ اللَّهَ الَّذِي خَلَقَهُمْ هُوَ أَشَدُّ مِنْهُمْ قُوَّةً. So Allah asks the rhetorical question that if you think about it, anyone that believes in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whenever they see anything magnificent, this should be our rebuttal. Allah asked the question, when they said, who is stronger than us on this earth? He said, do they not see that Allah, the one that created them, is stronger than them? So you see how he says, أَوَلَمْ يَرَوْا, do they not see that Allah, and then he gives his example, the one that created them. Naturally, the one that created them should be stronger than them. And this is a basic tenet of our belief in God and our belief in the oneness of God. The one that created everything, al-Khaliq huwa al-Qawi kadhalik. The one that is the creator of the heaven and the earth, he is also what? The strongest. He is the one that can overpower them. That's why he's al-Ghalib, al-Qahhar. All these names, they all, as we took in our names and attributes class, mutadakhila. They all intertwine. But then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, based on their arrogance and what they said, and this is where we as Muslims should look, that when Allah gives the characteristics of those that disbelieve, it's important for us to do what? Pay attention. Why? And what is the mistake here? Arrogance. That arrogance. Can Muslims be arrogant? He said there are some. Wallahi, there are some arrogant Muslims. Yes, of course, there are arrogant Muslims. This is a human phenomenon. And then this started from who? Iblis. Why? Because what did he not do? How?
He said he's the best. He's better than others.
Better than who?
Adam. Human.
By doing what? By not doing what? Sujood. By not prostrating. Right? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that what they said that we are the strongest of them. Do they not see that Allah that created them, He is the most harshest of them in strength? وَكَانُوا بِآيَاتِنَا يَجْحَدُونَ. And with our verses they would do juhud. They would defy. They would not accept. That's the first thing. Do we as Muslims have juhud? Because this, as some scholars say, is one of the signs of kufr that can take someone out of Islam. When they openly defy the rulings and verses of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Like Allah says, do this, you say, no, I'm not doing that. Why? Right? What is the reason behind that juhud is what is important in your heart. Do you feel that Allah is not as great as your thinking and your understanding is? This is where it can be problematic and possibly take someone out of the fold of Islam. But then Allah says, فَأَرْسَلْنَا عَلَيْهِمْ رِيحًا صَرْصَرًا fi ayyamin nahisat. This is what I want to capitalize. Allah says because of their arrogance and what they said and the basic aqidah in their heart which brought this arrogance. He said, so we sent upon them rihan. What is rih? Wind. Sarsaran. And this is really what I want to capitalize on. Sarsaran, some of the scholars say that it is a whistling sound, and the sound is like that of metal against rocks. So imagine a whistling sound like metal against rocks. And this is, by the way, what one person in Turkey said also when he heard that he's heard a wind, just a strong wind. Okay, fi ayyamin nahisat. Some scholars say that the ayyamin nahisat was 7 days straight. Can you imagine? 7 consecutive days you're hearing this wind and it's adhab. It's a strong, powerful wind. Not only a strong, powerful wind, but it has an irritating, screeching sound. You know how sometimes when we back there, you have someone that takes their nails and puts it against the board and makes that screeching sound? Similar to that. وَلِلَّهِ الْمَثَلُ الْأَعْلَى. And with Allah is a great example. Why am I saying with Allah is a great example? Because He's the mursil. He is the one that sent the adhab. And the adhab al-akhirati akhza wa hum la yunsurun. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala concludes by saying, and the adhab of the next life or the afterlife is worse in loss, and they will not be helped. So when you just think about this, the description I'm giving you, we haven't even lived it. We've seen a slide of an example of it recently. But when you just hear this example of something that we believe took place, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives you an example of this torment in this earth to show you what? Ultimately what? What does He want to ultimately show you? He says it at the very end of the verse. وَلَعَذَابُ الْآخِرَةِ أَخْزَى. What does He want to show you from the end of this verse? He's trying to get you to show you something. A trailer. A trailer for what? Yes. Whatever you see in this dunya that is, whoa, subhanAllah. You know, when I told you about the earthquake, immediately when I saw, what was the chapter that I remember? That some of us probably remembered, inshallah. No. But know for sure that the zilzal, that is the sign of the coming of the akhirah, will be worse than that. So Allah gives this example numerous times in the Quran. He says, وَلَعَذَابُ الْآخِرَةِ أَخْزَى. Don't worry. Like the adhab of the next life, the afterlife, is going to be worse than what you just heard. So imagine seeing something so bad, but then He tells you, you know what? Tomorrow it's going to be worse. Allah says tomorrow, the akhirah, is going to be worse. And they will not, and on top of that, they will not be helped. Can you imagine? You can't even imagine. Allah is painting you a small picture. The akhirah is going to be worse than that. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does this for you to remember that there will be a time that everything will perish. So what are you doing? Are you having this arrogance? And is this arrogance manbur? Is it coming from that of juhud with the verses of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? So let's, as Muslims, remember that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is al-Akbar in every single thing and aspect of our life. And from His greatness is giving us this Islam. So on a micro level, what are the things that we are doing? Are they in accordance with what the one who created us, that is much stronger than us and everything else on this earth? Is it in accordance to that or not? And what's up to us and our responsibility, brothers and sisters, is just for us to try to do our best. When one is arrogant, they are not trying to do their best. They're trying to fulfill their desires that may come out of making something little, which is something that should be great. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us of those that make Him great in our lives. Fi sirran wa alaniya, in secret and in open. And may He allow us to be of those that when we read His beautiful book, we take it into account and hold ourselves accountable before we will be held accountable. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. ربنا اغفر لنا ذنوبنا وكفر عنا سيئاتنا وتوفنا مع الأبرار. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما يا رب العالمين. اللهم إنا نسألك علما نافعا ورزقا طيبا وعملا متقبلا. اللهم انصر إخواننا المستضعفين في كل مكان يا رب العالمين. اللهم ثبت أقدامهم في سوريا يا رب العالمين. اللهم ثبت أقدامهم في تركيا يا رب العالمين. اللهم ثبت إيمانهم يا رب العالمين. وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين.